My guest today is singer-songwriter and recording artist Ray Boltz, who came to notoriety through contemporary Christian music. His music tells stories of faith and inspiration. Over his 30-year career, Ray has been the recipient of multiple Dove Awards from the Gospel Music Association for songs such as Thank You, The Anchor Holds, and I Pledge Allegiance to the Lamb. In today's episode, we will hear Ray's story and how he continues to inspire those around him. Welcome to my show, Ray.
Thank you. It's great to be with you today.
Yes, I am looking forward to this. It's so funny. When you came on camera, I was like, oh, we got the same memo. We're the same color shirt. That's hysterical. So it's a blue day today.
Yeah.
When your agent sent me your information, I chuckled quite a bit because I remember your music in the late 80s, early 90s. It was something that I always had heard. But it's funny. I was telling you in the pre-call, I'd actually never really seen you because back then we didn't have internet. And so now when I went and researched you, I was like, oh, look at that mullet, look at that hair. I see the iterations of you as you evolve. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Once you're on the internet, you're there forever.
Yes.
So,
yes.
It's like I can't go back and erase the mullet.
My sister randomly sent me, I was on a telethon when I was 12 years old and I'm singing on there and it was so bad. I was this chubby little boy with big glasses and I'm singing my song, following the director. It was just hysterical. So it is funny when you kind of revert back on where you were when you were younger and then who you are today.
Absolutely.
Now tell me, how did you even get started in the business?
Well, when I was 19 years old, I was always involved with songwriting and wrote music and played in high school garage bands kind of thing. But at the age of 19, I became a Christian at a Christian concert. And during that concert, I heard these people sing about their faith. And I started writing about my faith as I grew as a young Christian. I started writing songs about what I was going through, and I began to be invited to sing in places like nursing homes, youth groups, Sunday night services. The great thing about being from Indiana was you don't have to be famous to sing somewhere. I mean, you can go to a church, you can go anywhere.
Exactly.
And
what was the name of the band that inspired you?
Well, the one I was in high school was called Headstone.
Okay.
And it was named after Mick Jagger.
Oh, okay.
He was the
Gotcha.
Headstone. Anyway, so after I started performing, I just kept doing it, and I had no idea that it would ever turn into a full-time career. And then after 10 years of doing that, I took everything that I had and recorded my first album and signed with a little company, and it was released in 1986.
Oh, wow.
And my daughter, my fourth child, my daughter was born like around that same time, and I quit my job to go full time because they asked me to. 6 months later, they went out of business.
Oh my gosh!
So here I am with 4 kids. But the amazing thing was the album was selling, and they gave the rights back to me, and I was able to sell the album through my kitchen, and I sold 40,000 units through my kitchen. Okay,
that is amazing.
Yeah,
wow.
It is unbelievable, and that made enough money that I could make a second record. And that had the song Thank You on it. I signed with a different record company, and that song was released, and it went to #1 everywhere on an inspirational adult contemporary, and was used around the world. It was sung at Mother Teresa's funeral service as they brought her body into the arena in Calcutta. Just amazing stories of what happened. But it was just such a grassroots kind of natural evolution of doing what you love and good things happening from it.
And I think that's just the difference between then versus now as far as technology and the ability to, anyone can be, quote, insta-famous or famous in general, but to put, nothing against people that have received that accolade, but when it comes to the hard work, like you said, the grassroots, and having to do something in a completely different format. I mean, that's all you knew at the time, and that's all anyone knew at the time. But then to become so successful with that, and I'm sure upon reflection, it probably blows your mind half the time when you think about it.
Oh yeah, and I don't know how people make it today. I sound like an old guy, but I'm talking about kids that are trying to make it in the industry. It's the internet has opened the door so that anybody can record with Pro Tools and whatever they want to use. So when I made my first album, it took everything I had to pay for this room and this big giant board and an orchestra to come in. Well, now everybody does it on a computer. The blessing in that benefit in that is anybody can do it. The negative thing is anybody
Anybody
can
can
do
do
it.
it. Like
So it's
everybody's out there. Yeah.
how do you get noticed
Uh,
in that thing and in that world? And when I was doing it, performance allowed me to be noticed, and radio, it played all across the nation at one time. That's really hard. That's really hard to do now.
Wow. And your song, Thank You, that was, in fact, I listened to that again once just before we started talking. And I didn't actually realize that was you that sang that. I mean, obviously I knew the song, and I definitely recommend my listeners to listen to it. So you can YouTube Thank You and look under Ray Boltz, and it's a beautiful song. What inspired you to write that one?
Well, it's as a songwriter, you get asked to write songs for all kinds of reasons. And a lady came to me in church one Sunday morning, and she said, Pastor Appreciation Day is coming up in 8 weeks. Would you please write a song for the pastor? And I said that word people often say in church when you're asked to do something. I went, sure. And I go, why did I do
We
this?
forget we could set boundaries and say no.
I tried for 8 weeks to come up with, I had 8 weeks to write it. And all I came up with was stupid songs, stupid ideas of you visit the sick. And it was just awful, awful. And the night before Pastor Appreciation Day, I just, of course, I was desperately praying, help me come up with something. Come on. She'd gone to everybody in the church. Oh, Ray Boltz is writing a very special song.
And you're singing about he visits the sick.
And so like at the last minute, I'm going, the people that really have made the biggest impact in my life have not been famous people. Not that I'm against famous people, but it's not been rich people. It's not been important people in the eyes of the world. It's been like my mother, my father, my scoutmaster, my pastor. And I thought, I'll honor those kind of people, the people that maybe don't get thanked, and wrote a simple song that just says, thank you for giving to the Lord. I'm a life that was changed. And I sang it the next morning in church. I looked over at my pastor, big tears are rolling down his face. I thought, well, either I wrote a really good song or a really bad song, because he was like crying. Everybody in the church was crying.
Wow.
And so, yeah, it has had that kind of impact on many, many, many people.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's amazing how inspiration, when it strikes us, it really strikes us. And so to really get in that creative mode, for sometimes it can be very difficult. But once it happens instantaneous, and all of a sudden, just like you had this amazing song that won so many awards, and was at Mother Teresa's funeral.
Yeah, it was incredible, and I still get letters and emails and messages about it, and it's been a real blessing to just hear that people have used it to honor loved ones, especially somebody passed away or whatever. It's a song about going to heaven too, so basically they're in heaven, and people are coming up to somebody that's in heaven saying, thank you, that you don't know what you did on the earth affected me, but it did. It changed my life. And I like that. I like that thought.
Yeah, that's very beautiful. But however, things changed for you. So was it after 30 years, life happened, you decided that it was time to be true to who you are?
Yeah, in fact, that's the title of my last album.
Oh, is it?
Oh,
I didn't know that.
It's called True. Yeah, and you can get it on iTunes or whatever.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Anyway, that's exactly what happened. I told you, I said, excuse me, when I became a Christian in that concert at 19 years of age, I adopted a belief that it's not what I felt, it's what the Bible said. And inside, I knew I was always gay. I always felt that I was a gay, but I thought the Bible doesn't want me to have that, don't want me to do that. So I started saying, I'm not, and I'm going to live and be straight. And I did that, confessing that, believing that, praying about that for 30 years.
Wow.
And I married a wonderful woman who's still my best friend. We talk every day. We have 4 children, 10 grandchildren.
Oh, congratulations. That's great.
Yeah, thank you. But sorry.
No, you're doing great.
That's all right. So anyway, we have 10 grandchildren, and it just came to the place where I finally felt like I have to let my family know who I really am. I can't deal with this anymore. And so I came out. It was in 2004, the day after Christmas, and it was the day the tsunami hit.
Oh my gosh! Wow. Yeah.
Sri Lanka. And I often said it felt like a tsunami hit our family of emotions. But instead of turning against me, instead of hating me, my family accepted me and really gave me the strength to accept myself for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And we're still a very close family. And I've since my wife and I divorced many years ago, but like I said, we still talk every single day, and we
Mm-hmm.
love each other. We're still family.
Yeah.
So, but that's what happened. That's what I came out, and of course that ended my career in Christian music pretty
Mm-hmm.
much because uh, you don't get a lot of support or a lot of
Sure.
invitations to sing in churches.
Yeah.
Especially my fans were mainly fundamentalist Christians,
Mm-hmm.
and so, but I'd done it for 30 years. I traveled for all those years.
Yeah. Well,
Played all around the world.
Yeah. So, and first of all, thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing all that. That's a beautiful story. So I'm
Thank
so
you.
honored to be a part of that right now. When you reflect on that, I'm sure so many people listening right now have a story, and either people that are really close to them or people that did support them all of a sudden don't support them because of being true to who they are. How did you navigate that? Because not only are you a husband, a father, a friend, but you're also a public figure. How did you navigate those waters? And also having your faith that you truly committed yourself to. I mean, there's just so many variables there.
Well, actually, I retreated.
Mm-hmm.
I
Most
just,
people do.
I said I can't. When I came out nationally was in 2008.
Oh wow! So
and
okay.
and that was when I came out and did an article in the Washington Blade, an interview,
Mm-hmm.
and it was more traffic on their website than they've ever had. It shut down their whole server
Wow!
thing.
Oh my gosh!
It was really big because I just did the one interview with a gay publication, so all the Christians that were my fans that heard I was gay went to that publication. I got thousands of emails, thousands of letters. A few were positive.
Mm-hmm.
Many of them were very, very offended
Sure.
and upset because to them it was like I was betraying them.
Mm-hmm.
And really, I never wanted to betray
Of
anybody
course not.
or whatever, but it did make me retreat. I
Mm-hmm.
said, I moved to Florida, where nobody really, I don't want to say nobody knows my
100%.
name, but it's not like being in my hometown in
Yeah.
Indiana. There's 100,000 people. So I moved down here and basically retreated and retired and have enjoyed, I still write, I still perform every once in a while, but
Mm-hmm.
the days of climbing on a bus and going all over America,
Mm-hmm.
15 people on the road and bands and, I just grab my guitar and fly a couple places. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm a happy
Yeah.
old camper, I guess.
I think though, when you did get those letters, thankfully that some were supportive and unfortunately many were not. But I think oftentimes when people come out, many people who hear that all of a sudden think that you just decided this yesterday, or you just decided this, just influenced by someone or something 6 months ago. And all of a sudden like, oh, this person, how dare they? But as you know, it is a biological process. And so that's the way that you were created. With that, how do you reconcile your faith with
Well,
differences,
Oh,
of other people?
well, how do I reconcile my faith with the differences of other people? You mean what they believe?
Sure. Great way to redefine that. What I'm asking, I suppose, is how you were taught, but then how you believe today. There's a difference there.
Oh my
How did
gosh.
you maintain your faith with God? I guess essentially what I'm asking.
I don't say amen
Mm-hmm.
like I used to. If any of your listeners have ever gone to really rowdy churches where everybody's yelling at amen
Mm-hmm.
all the time, the preacher would, in the churches I went to, the preacher would get up and say something and everybody's amen, amen.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, performing is so funny because when I perform in Texas or Oklahoma
Uh-huh.
or anywhere like that, I mean, the people were really, really loud. They're all like shouting amen. And then I would go to Minnesota and sing the same song, and the people are completely quiet. And and I would leave at the end of the night and come out and shake people's hands, and they would say, "Well, that was the best concert. That just moved me so much." I thought, "Well, why didn't you let me know?"
So stoic, yeah.
All right. So anyway,
That's funny.
I don't say amen quite as fast as I used to jump up and say, "That's right." Like I know all the answers. I don't know all the answers, and another thing I know is they don't know all the answers.
Mm-hmm.
So the people that are espousing their doctrines and telling me what I should do and who I should be. They don't know me.
Yeah.
They have their own perceptions, but I have to find my way through this myself. And so yeah, I just don't shout amen anymore. And I also, and one other thing, I also don't judge people for where they're at, because where they are at is probably not going to be where they're going to,
Exactly.
they're not going to be there tomorrow. Perfect example was in the 60s, it was illegal for to have interracial marriages, where you would have somebody like a black person marry a white person. I have a daughter that is married to a young man from Nepal, and they're the most beautiful grandchildren in the world.
I bet. Oh my gosh.
All right, it's just absolutely gorgeous. But you go, there was a time that was, everybody hated that. Well, now, yeah, there may be a few people that feel that way if you look across the nation,
Sure.
but most people accept things that we didn't accept 20, 30, 40 years ago. So just because somebody is really offended right now, they don't like what I'm doing, society's going to change. So you just have to give them the freedom to grow and learn, and maybe one day they will.
And I think also, as we are all on our own spiritual journey, it all boils down to, yes, it's good to get wise counsel. The key word is wise counsel. And then the other part is, at the end of the day, we are accountable to a higher power. For me, it's God. And so for that, that's something we always have to be aware of. For those of you who do read the Bible, there's one of my favorite chapters is Psalms 139. And what that talks about is that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. That doesn't matter where you go and what you say. If you're up in heaven, if you're down in the dark, all of that simply means that God is always around you. He knows every part of you. And the end of that chapter is one of my favorite, because it says, "Search me, O God, point out those things in me that are not of you." And in that, that's to me my heart's desire for everyone listening, and even obviously for myself as well, is to continually pray that, because as we have that awareness and that awakening, it's God is the one who changes me, who changes you, who changes everyone else, as we're open to what does it mean to evolve in what his will is for us. So I think that is something, wherever people are in their life, if they have certain judgments, if they have whatever, that is something to truly be mindful of and be aware of, is that at the end of the day, we all are accountable to God. In my opinion, God, a higher power, whomever you want to call it. But that is something I think all of us, is a wonderful takeaway, in my opinion, because we are all fearfully and wonderfully made. And that, to me, that's a beautiful sentiment.
That is beautiful.
With your music,
maybe I'll write a song about it.
Oh, maybe you will. Yes, I inspired one. That's so funny. With your music now, what are you doing with it?
Well, I still write, and I do concerts occasionally, and I have a really good friend that is a piano player that had a lot of the same experiences I did. He went to Waxahachie Bible College in Waxahachie, Texas.
Yes, I have family who live in Waxahachie.
When he went there, he was with Amy Grant's first husband, was Gary Chapman.
Gary Chapman, yeah.
Was in the classes with him or whatever in the same school. And anyway, his name's Reuben, and Reuben's gay. And he basically was kicked out of school. This was years and years ago now. Okay. But he was kicked out of school for being gay and ostracized from his family. It's a real sad story. Just, his whole life was gospel music, and he's on the streets basically trying to make it, and was trying to play music. And he went to New York. He didn't know any Cole Porter, didn't know George Gershwin, didn't know Broadway shows. Yeah. He just had a really tough time. Yeah. So anyway, but he has risen from that kind of a beginning to one of the most incredible singers, piano players in Fort Lauderdale. Plays all over the place. That's amazing. And anyway, I went walking through the piano bar one night, and he started singing my song, "Thank You."
Oh, really? That's hysterical. I love that.
So we both grew up with the same kind of music. So now for music for me now is just like. Ruben and I might go and do some church services and play, and it's just fun. It's really like it was when I started. I said when I started, I played anywhere, nursing homes. Yeah. It wasn't about how much money you made. It was about, do you enjoy doing this? Yeah. And so now I'm back to that. So it's almost like a full circle.
Wow. And that's very, very inspiring. In the sense of sometimes in life, success happens or or there's these different evolutions of who we are, but sometimes we do forget what was the foundation, or how did we start? And so to always have that remembrance and to have it in the forefront of our mind will help us stay true to our brand, true to who we are, and true to the calling that is on our life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So.
Ray Boltz, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on my show. Thank you so much. If my listeners like to find out more information about you, to hear all your music, to purchase your music, where would they find all this information online?
They can go to my website, which is rayboltz.com, and it's BOLTZ, and it's very simple. You can go there and find out all about it, or go to look on YouTube. Just look past the mullet, okay?
That's hysterical. Ray, once again, thank you so much for being awesome.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. It's great to be with you.
Thanks.